Alright, back again, getting the Kraton 8S all cleaned up. This RC primarily sat in the garage on the shelf, collecting dust with all the dirt that it had on it. I did notice the last repair, when I repaired the control arm in the back, I had left an Allen wrench stuck in it, and it never fell out, which is really funny. I was cleaning it up, noticed it stuck back there, but it had never fallen out. That's how soft I'm running this RC. But got the wheels all cleaned up. They're a little shiny right now. They still need to be wiped because I washed them, sprayed them, and then all I do is give them a little wipe. Even though the stuff I use says you don't have to wipe it, I wipe it anyway just so it dries a little faster, because it will dry just like that anyway. It basically makes all the used parts look new again. But I'm going to be taking out the center diff on mine and putting in some 20 million diff fluid. At least that's the plan. That's the part number through Traxxas. Has some goopy stuff in there. Want to see if this tub was actually full, and it's full, because I think it's going to take all of this for this diff. At least that's what I think. Primarily that's what I think. I don't know, because I haven't done it before. Deontay has done it, but he hasn't. He didn't do a step-by-step anyway, so I've never taken out this center diff. So I don't even know where to begin. Not like it matters, because you gotta somehow get the center brace off anyway. Opens up a little more room. Kind of looks like the diff cover. That's just a floating gear. Oh, that's funny. So this thing's got a gear that drives another gear and a transmission. So it looks like the whole transmission and motor assembly is going to have to come out. So I'm going to start working on that, and we'll be right back. Alright, back again. Get you guys repositioned. I actually had to bring in my big snap-on gun to get the wheels loose. So I think the next thing would be to, motor's not going to slide all the way out without taking off these sides, which I'll just leave the motor attached, which I think we can just unplug it here. God, that first one was really loose. Then we can take off these pins. Enough room to get that one out. Start marking where some of this stuff goes, just so I don't lose it. So this stand comes in pretty handy, but I think, yep, don't have a big enough driver for that one. I can feel the whole motor, transmission, everything is loose now. So it looks like 5 bolts. 2 with Loctite, 3 without. I think 3 are going into plastic. Yep, so this whole assembly is loose now. There we go. Wow, there is a gasket and grease down here too. There's a bunch of sand. Look at all that dirt down in there. So you definitely don't want that going into your diff. But there's the diff right there. That's driving both drive shafts. So this seems like the best way to remove this center diff is to take out the whole assembly. And once the whole assembly's out, then we can pretty much lose the car so that we have the room that we need. there's a battery tray. The gasket in there so I don't lose it. And I'm going to push the car off. And we're going to make room for the whole transmission and motor. So basically on the bottom, what you're going to want to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 1, 2, 3 that should have Loctite, and then 2 that don't. I had 3 bolts with no Loctite and 2 with. The 2 outers had Loctite. So take that and your support braces off. Pull the assembly out. That's going to be step 1. So I'm going to stop it there, and then we're going to look at breaking open this transmission and see about getting to that diff. So I'll be right back. This battery's pretty low, so I'm going to get another one charged up and we'll be right back. All right, let's see if we can get this diff off. Wonder if the cover will come right off. We will see. We are definitely using the heck, or I am. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Bearing in there. Here's the transmission. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 gears to drive this. And honestly, there's not much fluid. There's our diff. And you can see how soft this fluid is. And this is why we're changing it. So I think if I go from this side, because this was in, this was this way. Yeah. God, look at all the dirt caked in there. There is sand galore in there. that, let me grab my light. See if you guys can see all the sand that I'm seeing. So back in here, you can see down in there, that whole valley is packed with sand, which is this side. Did it again. But you see all the sand? Let's see. All the sand in there? That whole galley is full of sand. But the bearing, the sealed bearing, is actually keeping the sand from entering in here, which it's not even a sealed bearing, it's a shielded bearing. But the bearing's stopping the sand from coming in, even though that lip has got some sand in it from me pulling it through. Wow. Interesting. You can see all the sand that collects all around this, so I'm going to clean all that up. But we're going to go ahead and pop this diff cover off, and the side showing the red is the one that goes in. That's kind of like floating in there. And it's got that stop there. So it might be better to pop, I guess pop this side. I don't know what side will be better, but I'm going to pop this side, because then I'm hoping this won't slide out. Well, actually, it looks like for gear changes, you pop this side out. So I'm going to pop the side out that's easiest to slide this gear off of, because that looks like the top. That might be the way to go. Oh no. That's way too much Loctite in there. Alright, my torch was out of butane. So I'm going to try to heat it up using the oven or the burner. Don't want to really mess up that bearing. God, that Loctite is in there. So we don't all have torches. My butane torch, I'm out of butane. So I'm showing you guys an alternative using the RC Guy stove repair trick. It's actually cooking that bearing. God, that's some Loctite, boys. We are literally cooking that Loctite out of there to get it to loosen up. Wearing gloves because this piece is really hot. And that's what we got on the inside. Alright, I went and grabbed, this is my transmission pan, my diff pan, all that stuff. These are slash four-wheel drive diffs that I have to rebuild. These are slash two-wheel drive transmissions that I have to put back together that I shattered. So I use this tray as my draining tray. So I'm going to set this over here and let that fluid drain out. I'm going to get out as much fluid as I can. This bearing got a little, I'm going to have to grease this bearing. You can see I sizzled the grease out of it. Let's see. From heating it up on the stove. This is all cooked grease right here. So I ended up having to heat up this bearing so much. The bearing's good. It's just all the fluids out of it now. And thank God it wasn't a shielded bearing, or I mean a sealed bearing, because the sealed bearing would have got ruined. But because it's a shielded bearing, it's all metal. Trying to get all that sand and grease that got stuck in there. And then we're going to lube this bearing back up. The gasket did okay too. So there you go, guys. I think this video is getting really long. So I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to edit this part and try to cut this video down some, because I think we're probably 30 minutes into it. I did slide off the gear, and the gear on the bottom of that has those two plastic things, that one on each side. I guess that just centers the gear, keeps it spaced up so it doesn't walk back, so it's always in line with the other gear. But I'm gonna let this thing drain. Oh yeah, it's starting to creep its way out. I don't know how thick that is, but it's definitely not that thick, because it is leaking. This 20 million should really do well. Alright guys, so went ahead and reversed the procedure, got everything put back in, got my transmission put back in. I have not screwed it down yet, it's set in there with the drive shafts in. I did change out my pinion gear while it was out. This is a 22 tooth, and I put in a Robinson Racing 23 tooth. So I'm gonna give the 23 a shot, but I'll get this thing all buttoned back up. But now you guys know how to get to the diff, clean out the fluid, go ahead and put in your fluid of choice, Dante recommends this 20 million. Stop those front wheels from ballooning so bad, put more power down to the rear, and get this thing to do some wheelies. Everything else other than the pinion change and the diff fluid is stock, so we'll see how it runs. So thanks for watching me pull out this transmission and get the diff fluid changed. So hopefully this helps some people out there, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if this has helped you out, or if you plan on changing your diff fluid. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.